Hey there, I'm Luke Barber with Strategy Email Marketing, and I want to share my review of the Cold Email Manifesto with you today. This book is by Robert Indries and Alex Berman. And if you'll stick with me to the end, I have a really applicable, crazy story how it happened. Super ironic that it happened, that right after I read this book, how I applied it and how it worked for me. It was awesome. It was meant to be. This is a great book, and it is mostly for business-to-business sales, and we're going to get into that in just a second. But before I even say that, I just want to say, for somebody who's written thousands, probably millions of words of copy, this book flows really well. There's a lot of white space. It makes it easy to read. I probably read it in a couple of hours. All right, now moving on to some of my nuggets, and then I'll tell you my little story. All right, so this, as I said, this book focuses on B2B sales, business to business, and Alex recommends that unless you have a product or service to sell that is $2,000 or more, this book probably won't be worth your time. The sales strategies that are covered in this are primarily for high-ticket products or services. He talks about the importance of being specific in your offers and not trying to appeal to everyone. And I can relate to this because over the years, I've got a lot of cold emails from people asking me for web development services, copywriting, email marketing, you name it. And some have been okay, but many of them should have read this book before they started cold emailing people, because they literally had a template where they just pulled information from my website and then plugged it into a couple of different places. In fact, one that I just got recently, it had at the bottom of it, it said, based on your location from your website URL or from your zip code, it's supposed to be warm in your area or cloudy in your area today. Stay warm. And I'm going, what does this have to do with anything if you're trying to solicit business from me? Anyway, so it was a little cringy, but anyway, it's important to be specific in your offers when using the strategies found in this book. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's very little information on copywriting and content of what should be in your email in this book. It doesn't talk to you about writing persuasive sales copy that's going to get people to buy products from your store or get them to take action to go over to your website and buy product. Alex uses a 4-part cold email series follow-up that's less than basic, but it does follow a specific personalization strategy, as I mentioned before. He shares really great examples and stories of successes that he's had. He also talks a little bit about some of the failures he's had too. And so I liked that part of it. It was a little bit more relatable to me as a solopreneur. Probably would be to you as a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, that, hey, we all make mistakes. We're all messing up and it's okay. And you can keep moving forward even when you make mistakes. So I like that part as well. He talks a lot about building the right team and how to handle individual tasks, about how his criteria for assembling those teams, what their roles are, how he pays them, what their job descriptions are, and how he makes them all just focus on one specific thing so that they can do it really well. He gives great examples of offers that he's used in the past, and the importance of framing them to directly lead to more sales. So the email examples that he gives in the book are typically case study driven. So they're very short, they're to the point. They all have some call to action at the end, but his primary strategy, just again, because this is more business to business, right? You're not going to be laying out all these problems and solutions that your products are going to solve. His primary strategy is, I want to get to the right person and I want to get them to book an appointment with me to make a call so that I can tell them about all the features and benefits and how it solves their problems and what their transformation is going to look like or whatever when they buy when the company buys his product. That's his strategy, is to get them on the phone so that he can do all of that. He's not trying to do this through the email. Does that make sense? And so that's kind of what is amazing about this book, is that in his opinion, this book should essentially replace cold calling, right? You're cold emailing people. And I know you might be thinking to yourself, you teach and you tell me if you reach out and send an email to somebody who doesn't know you and doesn't sign up for your list, that's spamming. And you're right if you're talking about sending to thousands, mass amounts of people, but just reaching out one-to-one to somebody who doesn't know you, I guess technically you could say that it's spamming, but it's not defined as spamming. Spamming is more based on sending to a large amount of people. Alex also gives great managing and business advice toward the end. As I mentioned, a lot of it was very inspiring. He shared some really great quotes about perseverance and sticking with entrepreneurship and continuing going when you have those failures and roadblocks that you come up against. He has a bold claim with this book, and that is that with its principles, you'll always have the ability to make money. And I definitely believe that, and I'll share that with you in my story in just a second. The last thing I was going to say is that it provides the steps to take and then challenges you to go use them, which I think is a sign of a really great book when it says, okay, here's some things to follow. Now go do that step, right? Instead of just, here, just read this information, and it's just kind of this philosophy floating out, in your brain somewhere. No, he says, read this, and after you're done reading it, go out and do this step now. And so he kind of leads you step by step through the chapters. If you stuck with me this long, let me tell you my story that happened, okay? So a couple months ago, I started trying to reach out to school districts, specifically special education directors for an online speech therapy company that I've been working on for a few months, and was having no luck calling, okay? I'm calling and calling, I'm getting voicemail, I'm getting secretaries. People say, oh, I'll send the message to them and they'll call you back. And for weeks and hours of calling, got 2 people maybe to call me back. Then I remembered, hey, I can send people cold email. Let's give it a shot. What do I have to lose? So I start sending these cold emails, and I have it now. Granted, it took some time. It was like, because I'm sending an email once a week, right, to the same people, but they're different emails, obviously. So I have like a 3 to 4 part email series that I developed based on the strategies that I learned from this book. And the first email introduces me, it introduces my business and says, hey, do you have any need for speech therapy for your students? Then the next email says, hey, I'm just bumping this to your email or to the top of your email inbox because I know that you're busy. We all are. I get that. You may have just missed it. Here you go. And then the third email says, I'm following up with my previous 2 emails. I just wanted to see if you still had a need for speech therapy for your kids. And that one has almost had like a 50% response rate, not open rate, response rate, where I don't know, there must be something where saying, look, I've already emailed you 2 other times and you've kind of ignored me or you haven't seen it or whatever. And that kind of gives them this sense of urgency that, oh, well, they should probably get back to me because they've already ignored me twice, right? Or they haven't responded twice. Now, some people would respond the first week or the first email, after the first email, their second email. But by and large, like 50 to 75% were responding after that third email. So it's been really fun for me to try out some of the strategies in this book and have them work almost immediately or within a couple of days. So I strongly, strongly recommend that if you're doing any kind of business-to-business sales, to give this book a shot. Because if you're anything like me, I hate being on the phone, can't stand it. And so with this, email is so much less intrusive. People can answer it on their own time. The stars don't have to align in order for you to get somebody on the phone. Great resource. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, leave me a comment. Let me know if it'll help you or ways that you're using cold email. Also, let me know if there's any other books that you'd like me to review. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you like it. And I'll see you next time.